Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Randomer Nintendo Podcast. I am your host, Angel, with also more hosts, Kevin and Jason.
Hey, yo.
They can introduce themselves
Hello.
at their leisure.
Yes, we'll say hi in the sequence you introduced us. Yes. Gotta catch us all the hosts.
That works. But yeah, I mean, new podcast, same 3 people, but also not completely new. I mean, Jason, if you want to kind of give like a brief rundown of what this is for anyone that might have missed the last episode.
Sure, yeah. So, you guys know Random Nintendo. We did it for over 10 years, and it was all about Nintendo, and it wasn't very random. And then you know Random Non-Tendo, which we did since the start of the pandemic under multiple names, which is not about Nintendo at all and was much more random. And we were like, what if we merge them? So what you have now is a show that's going to be anchored in the fact that you got us 3 as Nintendo fans who became friends over Nintendo initially, over gaming, over that shared experience, and then all the other cool stuff that we collectively are into and want to share with one another and with you. So that's kind of the elevator pitch, if you will. Feel free to send your venture capitalist dollars our way. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, as time goes on, we've just been presumably expanding our hobbies. I know Jason is now into more than just Nintendo. He's into cats now.
Yeah, I don't know how much I could talk about cats on a podcast. You want me to tell you about cats? You want to start with? Also, can we acknowledge before I start talking about cats? Speaking of music, because that's a musical, that intro music that you picked, Kevin, like beautiful.
Steam Gardens, Super Mario Odyssey, best track on that soundtrack.
It has like this.
And that thing's full of bangers,
one of the
too.
best. Honestly, I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there is a track that I would say is better than that one, and I kept thinking like, oh no, wait, that's from Galaxy. Oh no, wait, that's from Galaxy. It's like, yeah, I don't know. There weren't any instant like, oh my god, this one's great. Like that.
I think the real hidden beauty.
There's some good ones on there, but
yeah,
like honestly, I'm having. Yeah, I don't know.
I just say the real hidden
Dino
beauty.
Falls is pretty good.
Every time I start, you're like, wait, no, I got another song. Go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dino Falls is good, but yeah, this one's way better for sure.
I was just say the real hidden beauty is something that we did with all our songs over the years. Because you may recall back in the early Round 10 days, we actually changed the song every year or two. Is we always, the good ones, we always had like a build up, drop, and then something segueing out. So it'd be like, da 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 da. There's the drop, then the music kicks in. This one has that nice little build up. Like that's the key. Is you get a nice little punch at the front.
Was that one supposed to be TMNT?
No, the one I just sung was with no musical notation, our old Ram Nintendo intro.
Flat Zone?
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I meant. Like, it sounded like that TMNT.
Oh, I thought you meant you didn't recognize it because I was singing it so poorly, which would be completely accurate assumption to make. No, it's Flat Zone from Game & Watch, which...
Gotcha.
Yeah, the funny thing is that, like, while we were, like, changing the music, like, every year, like, at one point it was like, oh, yeah, no, let's just change it up. But then, eventually we did come back to Flat Zone, and I don't remember exactly when that was, but I think we went Flat Zone, then we went Pilot Wings.
Yep.
And we might have done something else somewhere in between, and then we went back to Flat Zone just because...
It was so good.
I don't know, something about the energy it brought.
Yeah, which I feel like the new
better.
music has too. And even Quarantine Chronicles and Random Non-Tendo, I forgot what song you picked, Kevin. I mean, I know it, I just forgot what...
She picked the one from Thousand Year Door.
Right, awesome. Right. And that one had a similar sort of like, build, go. So, we're pretty good with the music is what I'm saying. So, yeah.
But,
I
have small ears, right? I don't know if you guys have ever noticed. I have small ears. Everybody.
I feel like you mentioned that one, but I keep forgetting that. That's such a kind of it sounds like a funny thing to think about. Because I'm probably imagining your ears much smaller than.
Oh, I'm picturing them peanut size now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
they're also
the size
crooked.
of a. I have mismatched ears, but anyway, let's talk about your small ears. Please continue.
Oh yeah, I may have small ears that are crooked, but I do have an ear for good tracks, for good music.
Mighty,
that's
small
why,
but mighty. Those ears.
That's why they reject Imagine Dragons like the plague, and that's why they are adverse to Linkin Park's later albums as well.
I mean, your ears are just factually wrong about Linkin Park's later albums. Thousand Suns, their best work. I will go take that to my grave. I really mean it, but fair.
You think that's their best work?
It's the most cohesive album they put out. I mean, there's ones that are like the later stuff has more like what they call like firecrackers, where it's just like boom, 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 like good singles and that sort of thing. And then Hunting Park is kind of a weird throwback to their rock stuff. But like A Thousand Suns for me was like the one. I mean, also I'm skewed because that's the first time I saw him live. It's the first time I met him. So there's like all these other experiences I associate with it. But just musically speaking, I do think it's the strongest, or at least the most for them most adventurous, the most closest they came to a concept album.
I don't know if cohesive is the word that I would use to describe 1,000 Suns, though. Considering just the different, just based off their singles, what is it, The Catalyst and Waiting for the End are very, very different.
Sure,
songs.
but there's through lines in the production that The Catalyst is actually kind of a culmination of a bunch of the different production throughout the different songs on the album. But I get what you're saying is if you take them piecemeal, they flow really well, is I guess what I should say.
If you I haven't heard it in a while, so I guess I'd have to hear it.
Linkin Park thought they flowed so well that not only when you buy the album do you get the songs from the album, you then get a full MP3 uncut of just the entire album called The Complete Experience. Back when, you used to buy music before you just streamed it. So that's how confident they were in that. But I digress. We digress.
Yeah. Yeah, Jason's questionable music taste.
Oh, yeah, it's super questionable. Kidding. No. It is. I don't deny that.
Well, I mean, music is incredibly subjective. So, I mean, to say that anyone's music taste is questionable, I would say it's questionable to ever question it because there's no right or wrong.
It's a lot like
is that a paradox?
People's taste. That does seem like a paradox.
Exactly.
I guess it's a lot like people's food tastes. Someone could really like something, someone could really hate something, and you can't really blame either one. You can't be can't believe you don't like X.
I got really weird. I got really weird look. Wow, I'm tripping over the sentence like no other. I got really weird looks from my coworkers when we were talking about Eggos, and they're talking about how put them in the toaster, blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, you mean you don't microwave them from time to time?
Wait,
instead of using the toaster.
Okay, no, they have a point. Excuse me?
Yeah, that's not a taste issue. That is you don't understand how to make your Eggos. That's a misconception.
You microwave them?
I've done them with a toaster, but I just personally prefer them microwave.
But you prefer softer food in general over crispy.
Yeah, it's
right?
a preference.
So...
I'm not saying it's objectively better.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say it's objectively better, but it's just I just prefer them that way. I like them nice and fluffy and soft, and I could just fold them over with the syrup in there and just basically.
So you make an Eggo taco?
Cut it.
Sort of.
Is that the way to do it?
Basically, is an Eggo taco. I don't know. It just tastes amazing.
Is that the way to just have them soft and warm by microwaving them?
I will say that they do taste really good, toasted with a toaster. But I don't know. They're different. It's a different experience.
It just hits
honestly.
different.
If you haven't tried it, obviously don't heat them up too much. I think you kind of have to know how long to put it. I would say
it frankly sounds like you're making your Eggo
50
into a pancake.
seconds.
It sounds like it has the texture of a pancake.
Well, here's a question. When you bring out the Eggos, when you take them out of the box, I'm assuming they're in the freezer. Yeah,
they've been in the freezer.
So they have a little frost on them, right?
Oh, I see where you're going with this, Kevin.
Yeah, and so I guess a microwave would be hot enough to just evaporate the water before it, before the Eggo itself
they just become
soaks it up.
Yeah, they literally become fluffy. They don't feel wet or anything. It's just
right.
So what's the ideal? What is the ideal microwave time?
No, not at all.
No, okay.
That's also just a preference thing.
Well, yeah, but the thing about an Eggo, it's a waffle, and I feel like waffles aren't supposed to be fluffy. That's what pancakes are for.
Exactly. That's what I was just saying. That he's making a pancake. So, Angel, in your Eggo pancake,
I guess I like the pancake with the Eggo flavor because I don't really even think of them as waffles. I just think of them as
they're their own thing.
I guess a food item.
I mean, let's be honest. They really are not. They are their own thing. It's a pre-processed weird pile shaped like a waffle.
Actual waffles. I mean, when I think an actual waffle, I think of them as very thick and usually much bigger. These are, they're just eat them however you want.
Eggos are when the Pop-Tart people went, what if we did this in a waffle?
I understand though I'm in the minority in that, but
yeah. I feel I love Eggos, but I feel like they're very much like the Pop-Tart people are just what if we just applied the same ideas to the concept of a waffle? Because it's smaller, it has different flavor varieties. It can be eaten in a number of different presentation styles. It's a lot like a Pop-Tart.
I've never been to
this
Waffle
thing
House.
Wide open. Waffle House is amazing.
I've heard of Waffle
They're not
House.
in LA, unfortunately, but if you're ever in the South,
whenever you do road trips, you will usually see a couple of Waffle Houses before you reach your destination. Doesn't matter how far that destination is, you're going to see one or two.
Yeah, for sure, and they are delicious. They
Are you sure there's none?
It's sugar they put in, but it feels like
over
it's
to Nevada.
I don't think so. I think they're all in the south, Bible Belt, east of us.
Gotcha.
But no, yeah, if you can try it, it's like I think it's just sugar they're putting, like a lot of sugar, but they're sweet, they're delicious, they're laced with probably cocaine or something. They're so good. Like they're so good, and they're always the right portion.
I've never had one.
It always looked like to me like a poor man's IHOP. Maybe it's just a color scheme because the yellow and black just isn't visually appealing.
Also, they're physically smaller. They're physically smaller stores too. Like they aren't like IHOP. You have this big like grandiose. It's like a pancake cathedral with that like big triangle roof and everything. And then you go Waffle House, and it's just like they're kind of I think riffing on like old diner, like roadside diner architecture, but they're just a lot smaller. They're flatter. Like they definitely feel like the waffle gas station to the IHOP cathedral. Pancake cathedral.
Well, let's not put IHOP on a pedestal either. Just IHOP is.
Oh, I just meant in terms of their architecture.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I thought just in terms of like.
No.
You want a good pancake, you go to IHOP.
You want a good pancake, you go to Original Pancake House. That's the good stuff. Its name is very similar to IHOP, but it's very good. What? It is. It's around in LA, and they have a bunch of different pancakes. They have a menu of like 50 different types of pancakes, and they're all really good. The chocolate chip is the best.
What are you guys' opinions on crepes?
Crepes,
good.
Crepes can be good.
But I don't think I've had them from a quote unquote crepe place. The only times I remember eating them are from, the dining commons in Santa Barbara.
So, question: when we talk about crepes, are we saying savory crepes? Are we saying
sweet crepes? Really enjoyed.
A crepe is just what, a very thin pancake?
Yeah, that you then stuff with stuff.
Stuff inside.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, does it matter? Does it matter what kind of pancake? What kind of crepe it is?
Well, I feel like I prefer sweet crepes over savory crepes. I like both, but I definitely like the sweeter. Like, put some Nutella in there, maybe some strawberries.
The heck's a savory crepe?
Savory crepe is when they put, like, egg or meat. Like, you can get, like, a chicken crepe that has, like, spinach and egg. It's basically an omelet inside a very thin pancake.
Oh, yeah, at that point, it's pretty much an omelet.
Yeah. That's like, it's an omelet wrapped in, like, French gift wrap, essentially, at that point. Yeah. But, I think if we're talking sweet, yeah, for sure.
Like that. I went to Orlando 2 weeks ago, and I tried two things that I had never tried in my life before. Compliments of my boss. I tried spinach artichoke dip for the first time in my life. Delicious.
Welcome.
My god, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was at this little gastropub, but oh my god, it was actually at a steakhouse that we went to. It was so good. I'm like, that is like my go-to thing now whenever I see it on the menu. I tried that, and I tried. Andrew reminded me of it when he said, or somebody said something about the French.
I did, yeah.
And not necessarily French.
Was it like, when I called the French bread thingy?
No, he meant like 2 seconds ago when I said a savory crepe is just an omelet wrapped in French gift wrap.
Yeah. But what was it? It was like, it's this French Canadian, fries, meat, and poutine. Oh my god, poutine's delicious as well.
I've never actually had it because the concept of just chunks of curd mixed with gravy and fries is just like, what?
It's actually not. To be fair, these had what was it? It wasn't pastrami. It was some sort of meat. I think it was might have just been really good steak on it. Oh, it was so good. It was delicious. I'm like, not only that, but this is also the same boss that introduced me to cream spinach at a different steakhouse. Jesus, my boss is 3 for 3.
Is it Popeye? Is he Popeye the Sailor Man? I mean, cream.
No,
spinach,
he's not Popeye. He's not Popeye.
Okay,
he does have a tattoo
of an
the
anchor?
same area that
of Popeye.
I don't remember what it is, but it looks like an anchor.
Does he often wear striped shirts and kind of a sailor hat? Because
every now and then he'll bring in every now and then he'll bring a like a striped shirt, but it's a vertical striped shirt. It's not a.
I'm just saying this guy could be undercover Popeye. Like this could be an undercover Popeye situation. You never know. You always gotta be on the lookout.
Does Popeye wear a striped shirt?
Yeah, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, it's red and white.
For some reason, I remember
vertical.
It's horizontal, white and.
I mean, I'm sure he does, but. Yeah. For some reason, I'm just remembering him wearing like a solid color shirt.
Oh, wait.
Is it blue?
Wait, nope. He doesn't have stripes. Yeah, Angel's right. He has 3 white buttons on a blue shirt. So,
Yeah.
Does your boss wear 3 white buttons on a blue or black shirt? Because in that case, it may be Undercover Popeye to my original point.
He might every now and then he does. Sure.
Could be Popeye. You always got to be on the lookout. You never know where Popeye's going to pop up. That's why it's called Popeye, because it pops up. This conversation is going totally sideways. This is what happens when we go randomer. This is what happens. This is what happens.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. But, speaking of food, actually, I tried a couple things, too. But mine actually fit the other half of our name, because they were Nintendo food. Like, I guess when we switched here, like, it's not like I'm consuming Nintendo news, I'm consuming Nintendo food now. But have you guys had either the Kirby drink from Kung Fu Tea or any of the new Cold Stone flavors that Nintendo did with them?
You said Kung Fu Tea?
Nope.
Kung Fu Tea. It is a boba tea shop. I normally don't like tea, but let me tell you a little bit about the Kirby Fruity Flurry, I think is what it's called. Do you like the taste? Let me just ask. Do you like the taste of pink Starburst?
No.
Angel, what about you?
I want to say I don't prefer.
And people look at me crazy because people love the pink Starburst. And I think it's the worst flavor in the base Starburst flavor. Just the vanilla Starburst flavors.
But not literally vanilla. They're actually all fruit,
not vanilla Starburst.
Yeah. I do.
Just the OG 4. I'm not a fan of the pink ones.
What's your favorite? Is it red or orange or yellow?
Red. It's red, followed by yellow, followed by orange,
choice.
Followed by pink.
So pink, I enjoy myself a pink Starburst. And Angel, you were saying you liked it or no? Pink.
I think I'm indifferent, but probably one of my... I mean, if I had to rank them, I think I just like... I don't know. They all kind of taste the same to me.
Nobody likes the yellow ones.
The yellow ones are the odd one out, yeah. Remember when they used to have green? Oh, no, that was Skittles that used to have green. Anyway, the reason I mentioned pink...
Skittles used to have green?
Whenever a Shrek would come out, they would just put out green Skittles.
Yep, and it became like a thing that people want back every so often. And they're doing like, last summer or this summer, they're doing like all lime Skittle bags. You can just get green Skittles. Anyway, again, I digress. The reason I ask you about pink Starburst is because if you can imagine, if you will, a 24-ounce cup of liquid pink Starburst, that is roughly kind of what the Kirby Fruity Flurry is from Kung Fu Tea. So a little background here. What they did is they teamed up with Nintendo, and you can get this drink that looks the color of Kirby, and it has like boba kind of in it. It has these berry ball things. They actually were sold out of the berry ball thing, so I got mine with mango, which was actually strips of mango. So this isn't a full, accurate review of the Kirby Fruity Flurry. This is like, I don't know, the first impressions of most of it. But the thing literally looks the color of Kirby. You get a special cup that has Kirby's face on it, so it literally feels like you're drinking Kirby. And then there's like a little, when you go boba, they put like the saran wrap, plastic wrap on top that you like shove the big pointy straw through. That also has Kirby art and a Kirby logo and a QR code to learn more about Mr. Kirby. And these are apparently a hot commodity. So I tried to get it Anime Expo weekend, which I know, Angel, you probably have things to say about Anime Expo at some point today. But tried to get it then. They were completely sold out. And then when I called them the other day to be like, do you have it? They were so rehearsed in their answer, like, yes, so we have the actual liquid of the drink. We have the cup with the Kirby design, but we do not have the berry balls. And I was like, that's fine, whatever. But the fact that just asking, do you have the Kirby drink? And they know to break down the 3 components, us Nintendo fans are obsessive, I guess is the takeaway. But anyway, yeah, so you drink the thing.
So you did not have the true
I had the pink drink,
you
but I did not have the mango. I mean, I did not have the berry ball. So what I was missing was the accent of the drink. But what I can tell you is as you drink the pink, which is the main flavor, that flavor is supposedly a mix of berries, strawberries, blueberries, a hint of lemon is how they describe it. Supposedly. To me, it just tastes like the pink Starburst. And then there's a little hint of mango because I had the mangoes in the bottom. And it was very good at the start. And this is like a 24-ounce cup or whatever. And then as you keep working your way down the drink, you start realizing, oh, this is pure sugar. Oh, this is just more sugar. Oh, I'm getting diabetes by getting halfway through the cup. Like, I couldn't finish the drink.
I got diabetes just
so
looking at the thing from your picture.
Yeah, it's so... First of all, doesn't it look extremely on color for Kirby? Like, it is pitch perfect in real life, too. Which is... Who knows what science they did for that. But yeah, it starts strong, and it just keeps getting sweeter. But it comes with that cool cup, and I didn't keep the cup, but I'm sure like that cup could be reused if you want to put other things. Pour milk in it, and you got classic Game Boy Kirby. I don't know, but yeah, it's Kung Fu Tea. They're, I guess, around the country, and they're doing this Kirby promotion tied in with Forgotten Land from back in March. But yeah, I just thought, if I'm consuming Kirby drinks, I should probably mention it on a show where we talk about Kirby's owner, Nintendo. So that was thing number one I tried. That was the drink. Did I sell anyone on trying this drink? I'm guessing I did not.
I'm definitely not going out of my way to do it. And doesn't Taco Bell do like some sort of Starburst flavored, like
they do.
something?
So if you want to take a Sharpie and scribble on a Taco Bell cup some Kirby eyes,
as I'm ought to do,
yeah, as one does, you probably can have about the same experience. Yes. But I will give credit that like this is creative, and that's the thing I think is like there's collaborations all the time, right? Like, it's like, oh, go to Burger King, get like a Nintendo toy with your Nintendo Big Kid Meal or whatever they call it now, or like the Happy Meal with the Mario Kart toys a month or so ago. The Pokemon cards at McDonald's like a year ago. Like, that's all fine. But when they actually like put in the effort to like make a custom menu item, like props to them for doing that. Like, I don't know if there's been any franchises over the years that you guys have been fans of that like, I don't know if there's like a Ninja Turtle like cake or something that was like shaped like their face and like was the right flavor, or I don't know, but I don't know
probably not
flavor
official, but like we go to a bakery across the street.
So maybe a cake's a bad example.
They got a
big
like, book of like, hey, you want a Ninja Turtle cake? Here you go.
That was a bad example. What, like if they made like a Ninja Turtle, I don't know what, but something that like references it without necessarily just being something in the shape of or stamped with the branding. Case in point, the Cold Stone ice cream. So there are 3 ice creams at Cold Stone. I only tried one so far. Also Kirby, the day after I had the Kirby drink. I'm trying to make my diet 100% Kirby. But they have 3 drinks there, or 3 ice cream varieties there. They have the Mighty Pink Puff, which is what I had, and it was actually really good. Like, it was not too sweet. It was everything like the Kung Fu Tea should have been, but edible instead of drinkable. But it's strawberry ice cream with strawberries, mini marshmallows, caramel. It's really good. It's really kind of like light and refreshing. I would recommend that in a heartbeat. They also have an Animal Crossing Island getaway with chocolate ice cream, strawberry bananas, and I believe like whipped cream or something on top. And they have a Mario Party Superstar Blast, Sprinkle Blast, something like that, which I believe was cake batter ice cream, cake, colored frosting, and rainbow sprinkles. So that's probably the closest sugar rush you can get compared to the Kirby drink. But they all come in like Nintendo-themed cups if they have them available. Of course, my Cold Stone didn't. But again, like the Mighty Pink Puff, marshmallows because that's Kirby's texture, pink because that's what he is, strawberries just tie in very nicely with that Kirby Dream Buffet announcement they just made where you collect strawberries, and that's probably just a coincidence. Point is, like, when they go out of their way to like make menu items that actually like reference the thing beyond just like a branding exercise, it's fun and it tastes good. When it tastes good, it's even better. So that's my spiel on Nintendo food.
Are we going with Kirby is marshmallow textured? I never got that from him.
What did you think he was? Elastic?
Yeah, definitely more elastic than marshmallow.
Because marshmallows are kind of, you could stretch a marshmallow out.
Would
you say Jigglypuff? Would you say Jigglypuff is a marshmallow, or is she?
No, Jigglypuff is definitely
Kirby.
Oh, you know what? She does expand.
Yeah,
she's definitely
Kirby.
elastic.
Oh, okay, yeah. Actually, I don't know why I said so does Kirby. Like I was proving.
Tastes like rubber or something.
Yeah, but rubber doesn't rubber
like a balloon.
No, you
rubber like thins out. It's the problem when you stretch it.
Yeah. And you wouldn't want to eat something that tastes like rubber, which is why I'm happy to report, and I'm not being sponsored by Cold Stone, but their ice cream is delicious. The Mighty Puffball, quite good. Yeah, so what I'm saying is go eat some Nintendo food. And then, weirdly, after I ate the Nintendo food, Nintendo then announced a game about food with Kirby. So it was a very intense week for me of Kirby edible experiences. This is probably like the big Nintendo thing that's happened. Did you guys see it? The Kirby Dream Buffet, as they're calling it?
Yes. I didn't hear it, but I saw what it is.
I am extremely into this, I think. I guess for anyone who didn't, it's Kirby through the lens of Fall Guys, mixed with Monkey Ball, mixed with the old never-released Tilt and Tumble 2 that was supposed to come on GameCube, mixed with some of the like item fetching ideas of the City Trials and Kirby Air Ride. So you're a Kirby ball. This is the premise, and I love how Kirby just literally rolls with anything and is cool with it and is always happy. He goes to a cake. He's like, oh my god, a cake. And then the cake transforms him into a topping on itself. And he's like, cool, and just starts rolling around and doesn't seem to care that his life just became that of a cake topping. But that's the game. But yeah, so you as this rotund...
I feel that way too.
So if you were just like eating, actually, let's use the Eggo example. Let's say we were eating Eggos in our preferred format of Eggo, right? And then you're eating it, and suddenly you're on the Eggo. You're just like, yeah, this is my life now. I'm cool with this.
I wouldn't be opposed.
Okay. Angel, would you live on an Eggo?
No.
Okay, so see, this is a very
Not even a fluffy
issue.
one.
Yeah, not even your microwaved.
Nah.
What are like pillow sized?
Pillow size.
What if it was a rotund Eggo, almost like a little mini Earth that you could explore, like a full planet of just Eggo as its soil?
No kind of Eggo living for me.
That's good to know. I guess you and Kirby won't hit it off then, because he loves living on whatever surface they
scratch
throw
that
him
off the surprise birthday party.
Yeah. You're not gonna get a Honey I Shrunk the Kid Ray for Angel and put him on Eggo. Dang. But anyway, yeah, so the game basically is Kirby's this perfect ball, and you roll him around, and you have up to 4 people rolling around as different Kirbys, and you are in these levels that look very Fall Guy-esque, and you're rolling kind of monkey ball style, and from what I gathered, your goal isn't so much to get to the end first, but to collect the most strawberries around the stage, and that makes your rotund Kirby bigger, and then you do 3 rounds of this, and then the 4th round is basically Mario, it looks like. I'm assuming this off a minute and a half trailer. And then the 4th round looks to be bumper balls, like Mario Party bumper balls. And then all the strawberries you ate make you that much more formidable as a foe on the bumper balls. And I am way too into this for my own good. Like I was mentioning on Last Nintendo, I'm like super about Fall Guys at the moment. And a Nintendo-fied one that throws in some monkey ball sounds great. And I think the real sleeper of this, like the real thing that's going to do well for it, is it does what Fall Guy doesn't, which is it has local multiplayer. So Nintendo's pitching is like, oh, you could play online with 3 other Kirbys and you can all roll around together. But local multiplayer, Fall Guy...
Just 3?
Yeah, it's only 4 total, so it's a little smaller fare. It's not quite the insanity of Fall Guy.
Just a little smaller.
Just you know, a multitude of 10 smaller, and then some multitude of 15 smaller. But yeah, I appreciate that they're doing a local multiplayer, because like a situation that's been happening with me is I told you guys I was playing Fall Guy almost daily last time we spoke on the podcast, and my girlfriend was getting super invested in me winning, which I never did. I never got a crown, and it drove her crazy. Like she was getting very stressed out about it, and almost angry at me for not winning, which was weird. But point is, eventually she's like,
"It's justified."
What?
No, that feels justified.
I mean, I guess. But point is, she got so invested that then she wanted to play, but she wanted to play in tandem with me on the TV. You can't do that with Fall Guy. It's 1 player per system. You can do it online, which means one of us could be on a Switch Lite and one of us could be on a Switch, but it's not a local multiplayer experience. It's not a system like the Switch where, you know, the whole MO is always like it's a local multiplayer party system.
Well, I mean, good thing you each have a Switch, right?
Well, but she wanted to play on the TV, and I'm like, okay, I'll use your Switch. We could just sign in to each other's Nintendo IDs. She's like, no, that's too much work. I just want split screen, both of us same time on the TV. Which is, again, on the Switch, that's not crazy of a request.
Hear me out.
Kirby does it, yeah?
2 TVs.
Now we're talking. We get 2, so we have like a 50-something inch, so we just put them side by side. We take up the entire length of the living room.
2 55 inches. Yep.
Yeah, and then buy her another Switch.
255 LG C1s.
Yeah, that could work. I mean, they just announced that Splatoon 3 Switch OLED. We could just buy that and just have 2 different colored OLEDs so we know whose is whose. This is perfect. It's only like $2,500 with all said and done, but it's perfect because we're also going to need a TV stand, of course. Or, alternatively, we just play this Kirby game, which is kind of the same gameplay, but actually accommodates local multiplayer on a system where everyone expects local multiplayer. So I feel like it's
Does the frame rate go down?
I would assume not, because Nintendo's usually good about optimizing that stuff. And again, there's only 4 Kirbys total rolling around.
Have you played Mario Strikers?
No, not past that demo, because I didn't like the player. Is it bad, the frame rate in Strikers, Angel?
It's about the same as the demo.
I didn't have trouble with the demo, though,
like
frame rate wise.
Like, I don't think it... I'm just surprised it's not 60 even when playing single player. But, yeah, it's interesting. I don't even think it's a consistent 30.
Huh.
But
Well, Kirby doesn't look quite as intense. It's nice looking. The icing looks smooth, and everything looks fluffy. That should be fluffy, like the cotton candy. So like I'm sure it'll look fine. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a graphical workhorse for the Switch. But either way, like I feel like this is kind of filling a nice spot that Fall Guys left behind. So I honestly, this is one of my most anticipated games of the year, Kirby's Dream Buffet. I'm not even kidding. I know it sounds ridiculous, but just it hits all the right boxes for me. So, assuming it's good when it comes out.
But that sounds ridiculous. Like, after 10 years of doing this podcast with you, it sounds like it'd be ridiculous if you didn't get it.
Well, I'm not saying I'm going to get it. I'm saying it's the most anticipated. I care more about this than the new Pokemon. I care more about this than Splatoon 3. I care more about this than, well, certainly Xenoblade, which I'm not playing. I care more about this than the Bayonetta news that just came out. Like,
Makes sense.
Yeah, actually, Bayonetta makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, all of those things make perfect sense. That's why you wouldn't care.
Yeah,
that's Kirby.
Yeah. Actually, this is very on brand for me.
You were literally just gushing about how you were eating all this.
Yeah, I put a lot. I really went full mouthful mode here, didn't I? To make a bad Kirby reference. I put a lot of Kirby in my mouth. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I wanted to say about Kirby.
Yeah, I guess I might as well keep the Kirby train going.
Yeah, what are you at? Are you eating?
Definitely not.
Are you putting Kirby things in your mouth?
Yeah.
No, just on my shoulder. No, yeah, but during Anime Expo, or at least like the week before Anime Expo, some friends and I went to like a store called Japan LA, and I got like this little Kirby plushie that has like a little magnet under it, so he could just sit on your shoulder basically and not fall down. And because Anime Expo was the following week, which was also pretty awesome, like I just had it there the whole week. Because, I normally never cosplay. I just like to, walk around and not necessarily have to worry about the costume, but just enjoy looking at other people's costumes. But, had the little Kirby companion. A few people asked about it. I thought I would at least see one other one because it's a neat little toy. And it almost seems like it's to scale for Kirby if the Sakurai measurements are to be believed, but
Kirby's that small?
Yeah, pretty neat.
Oh yeah, I guess he would be.
Yeah, Kirby's supposed to be like 2 inches tall or something.
Why is every Nintendo character really tiny in reality? Like the Pikmin, Kirby, Chibi-Robo, and then the Fall Guy beans, which you would think are small, are really big. Like why? Why is everything not?
Can you name any other tiny Nintendo characters, Jason? Because I'm pretty sure that's just all of them.
Mario before he gets a mushroom. There's another.
I guess, man, but I guess if Kirby's 2 inches tall, I guess DDD would be like
6.
A pigeon.
Yeah, yeah. And Meta Knight would be equally tall. Captain Olimar would be just as short as his little Pikmin. I said Chibi-Robo. A custom Robo, all the robots are action figure size.
A Pikmin must be microscopic at that rate.
Yeah, Pikmin are, I think, 3 inches tall or something.
No. Pikmin is supposed to be like an inch tall.
Oh, that's right.
Like,
that's right.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bottle cap is like bigger than Olimar.
True.
About the size of Olimar.
And I already said custom Robo, right? Yeah, I did. The robots.
Yeah.
Fox McCloud's the size of a fox, not a human, even though he walks on 2 legs like a human.
But anyway,
that's all I got.
But yeah, at Anime Expo, like they also had it's Kirby's anniversary, like it's like their 30th anniversary.
Correct. Yep.
And they had Kirby's has been having like a year with like so many different types of blind boxes. There's like a blind box set where you could have them eat breakfast, brunch, like different types of pastries. But the one that really caught my eye was like little dioramas of like 6 different games, and they feel kind of random. But 2 of the games on there, do you have one for Kirby's Dream Land? They're like little, basically plastic domes or squares, but basically it's like, it's a little diorama depicting a moment from the game. For Kirby's Dream Land, you have the credits scene. Well, pretty much after you beat DDD, Kirby turns into a giant blimp, and he's carrying DDD's castle.
That's what they decided to do in the little like terranium of Kirby. That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's
cool.
very
It's also
unique.
black and white.
Yeah,
and it has a little mountain. It's a tiny little Kirby blimp with like little tiny strings. Well, they're plastic strings, but they're carrying DDD's castle. And DDD's castle even has like the defeated expression that it gets after you win. And then the other one that I really liked was the one from Kirby's Adventure, where it has like Kirby flying in the sky shooting at the little nightmare sphere. But then you also get some other weird ones that, are also pretty cool, but I didn't really play those games too much. There was you get one from Kirby's Dream Course, which the diorama itself looks really cool, but I only played the game once, and I definitely didn't play the levels depicting, but it looks really cool. Looks neat. Another one is, I believe it's from Kirby Superstar. It just has Kirby and a Waddle Dee walking towards each other, and there's just a heart there. It's like, all right, that's cool. Then you have the one from the Wii where it has Kirby and character whose name I don't know with the yellow eyes just standing in front of a monitor with like a key.
Meta Knight?
With, a giant. No, it's like a hooded character. It's like the new friend from Kirby Return to Dreamland.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to help them repair their spaceship. You're looking for gears in the game as you progress through. But the other one that I think is probably one of the other cooler ones is they have a Kirby's Air Ride diorama there. Specifically the city trial mode where you have two Kirbys, each in their own glider, and then you also have like the little wing power up, and you have two buildings there. And the way you set up the cubic background when you just plop it on top, it adds like these little effects to the back so it looks like they're whooshing around. I don't know, they're really well done. And unfortunately I didn't get the Kirby one, the Dreamland one on my first try, or second, or third, because that's all they had available. I bought like the remaining 3. But I did, so I ended up just ordering a box online.
Like a full
came
box?
with all of them.
Like
Yeah.
how many blind boxes are in a box? Like how many total are we talking?
6. It's one of each.
Oh, I thought it was like
So
one
you
of those things where you get like 24 and you have to like open them all and hope for the best.
No. There's 6 of them, and you get the full collection if you buy the box. So if you know it's a fresh box, you're basically, not basically, you are guaranteed to get all of them. So I basically have all of them, but I also have, I guess, 3 spares. No, yeah, 3 spares because, I had bought in 3 previously. But, makes for good gifts. I already know who I can give them to anyway as well. But, oh god. And I mean, I guess besides that, definitely spent the most in this anime expo than I've ever spent before. But it was just a nice anime expo. I don't know what it was about this one, but
Yeah, I was going to ask how was
maybe it was not, like, I think it was just not necessarily having anything I needed to go to, but yeah, like, stumbled on some random panels, learned about the history of Little Tokyo, which I did not really know about, and didn't realize it was kind of dark. Kind of interesting. Definitely look into that if you're interested. But yeah, Little Anime Expo, it felt like a pandemic never happened, except have
it looked like a pandemic
more
didn't
people
happen.
than usual wearing a mask.
But
Like,
not enough people.
Not everyone was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everyone was wearing a mask, but there were people with masks.
Because, yeah,
And, you're supposed to have a wristband on, but as my brother proved on Saturday or Friday, whenever he came, he was just able to walk in, like, towards the end of the day without even getting, like, checked for the wristband that you need to have to get in to prove that you were vaccinated. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, it was great. Like, the energy was there. Like, the entertainment room was as busy as always. Got to play some Smash Brothers with random people. Bought a bunch of stuff at the Ghibli store, the Evangelion store. Even bought myself a nice painting that was commissioned by Disney to make like depict that scene of Dumbo reaching out to his mom.
Yeah, I'm curious. I
in
saw
a
you
realistic
tweet
fashion.
that. Where do you plan on hanging such a depressing picture? It's a very nice picture, but it depicts the most depressing scene in the movie, or one of the most depressing scenes in the movie.
Oh man, yeah, it's one of my. Yeah, when I saw that, like it literally like brought like tears to my eyes when I saw it, because it was just like something that could move me that much. I'm like, I need to have that.
But where do you put it?
It's hanging right now. It's hanging anywhere, but I mean,
But like,
it's just hanging in my sister's house right now.
so every time your
hanging
sister's
on the ceiling, so you're moved every single time.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, like, you wake up and you're just like, oh my god, Dumbo. And your sister's a bigger
I
Disney
don't know
fan
where
than you.
they
even,
have
so
it.
that's funny that you left it there for her to be sad every time she sees it.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah, that's like the Disney house.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I don't know. It just seems
yeah.
like it's it's a very nice picture. Everyone go look at his Twitter to see it at Weiro, WEIRO_O. But it's a sad picture. Like, it's weird to like. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. The idea of having sad pictures hanging up is always like a downer.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I could see that on paper, but it just fills me with that really good nostalgia.
Fair. Okay,
Like,
that could cancel out the
like,
sadness. Yeah.
It's literally like getting like punched in the gut with like happy feelings of when I saw that, because I watched that movie a ton as a kid, and of course that scene in particular never failed to make me cry. So even if like I hadn't watched the movie in forever, like anytime that song comes up or I just look at that picture, like it's like it takes you back. It's almost like that Ratatouille moment where like the dude eats the food and he gets taken back to his childhood.
Right,
Like
right.
that's what that painting does every time I look at it, which is kind of nuts because I don't think I've ever really had a painting or a poster do that. Like I'll get feelings of like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like all the posters I have, like the Godzilla ones, the turtle ones, but this one was different. It's like it actually brought. It was more of a emotional hit than I guess fan one, which I guess it is. Which I guess it is too because it's Disney and it's Dumbo and I love that property. If it had a Fox and the Hound one, it probably would have been even a bigger nostalgia hit because I can barely make it through that movie with like without having red eyes. But long story short, Anime Expo was super fun. Definitely looking forward to the next one. And yeah, honestly, it also like kind of like helped motivate me and push me to like start like a business venture, which I won't really go beyond that right now because it's like it's so far away from like really getting from really starting. But yeah, it's very inspiring and motivating, and it made me feel like I can do that. I want to do that, and yeah,
Nice.
Anime Expo. Jason was there.
I was for a day, and my time at Anime Expo, as you can guess, was not so much about anime, but more about Nintendo. Well, Bidoof. So I had one day, so I
You finally met all my friends in person.
Yes, I got to meet some of your coworkers for the first time. All very nice people. But yeah, I then ran off with your brother to speed run the show floor because I only had a couple hours because it was my one day. And the sole thing I looked for on the entire floor was a Bidoof. Anything Bidoof. Could be a figurine, could be a plush. There was a booth that had these really cool glass Pokeballs that inside them were like little... Can't believe this is twice in one episode I'm going to use the word Terranium, but that's basically what it was. Little Terraniums inside different Pokemon. They had like Jolteon and Lugia and Pikachu and Charizard and of course no Bidoof, but I really hope they had a Bidoof. I ended up with a Bidoof plush you can get at PokemonCenter.com for $7 less than what I paid. But I got my Bidoof in the end, so it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, and a lot of those, depending on the Pokemon, and Bidoof being as popular as he is for some reason, probably would have been sold out at the Pokemon Center
For some
online.
reason, excuse you.
For some reason.
Because he's
Reasons
great.
unknown, but
Because he's great. It was interesting that there's actually a decent amount. I mean, it was all like anime-related video games, but it was interesting that there's actually, at least I saw like 4 or 5 different, like over the course of the weekend, 4 or 5 different Switch-bound games were announced at Anime Expo. Like Azure Gunvolt 3 had a booth or had like a section of a booth. Like there's a decent amount of Switch stuff. Like usually it'd be like, oh look, one game coming to Nintendo, but there's like a good handful. It kind of felt...
Yeah, they even had in the entertainment hall, like not the exhibition floor, you were able to demo that that RPG.
Yeah, the one from the Nintendo Direct Mini.
It had like its own little section.
Yeah, we didn't really touch on that when we talked about the Direct Mini, but it's this game where like it's like a pen and paper RPG, but you're playing like it's set up like a pen and paper RPG. Like it looks like one, but you're playing like a normal RPG in it. So it's kind of like what that game from the Pokemon guy. Oh, what's it called? The one we talked about 2 episodes ago, where you're the little knight and you whatever it's called. It's kind of like that, but a little more low key in its implementation.
The Plucky Squire?
Yes, thank you. That's what it is. Yeah, drawing a blank. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see there was actually like a Switch game unreleased on the show floor being demoed. A couple of them, because like I said, Gunvolt was there too. So that was kind of nice. It was nice too, because like I feel like at that point we were like kind of in the midst of this weird Nintendo news drought. Like we got the Direct Mania of third-party news, and we got to see some third-party stuff, and there's like no like Nintendo stuff outside of Xenoblade. So it's kind of cool to be like, oh look, there is like activity around Nintendo, like physical activity. Of course, they have since filled that void. We're getting like a month-long, I don't know what to call it, but they're doing like news drops like every few days at like 7 a.m. It's like a prolonged mini like Nintendo Direct for a month, which has been kind of fun because like you wake up, it's like, oh, Bayonetta 3 comes out on Halloween, that's cool, or oh, there's that.
Oh, that's like officially what they're doing? Like they're just dropping something new
I mean, that's
day?
what they've been. I don't know if it's official, but they've done it 4 times, so I assume it's official. Oh. I mean, they did it with Bayonetta. That's not coming out Halloween, as we kind of predicted might happen. They're doing it with. They did it with the Switch OLED Splatoon edition. They did it with Kirby-themed Buffet, and there's a 4th one that I'm forgetting that they also did it with. At least as of this recording, they might do more between now and when we post this. Who knows? But yeah, it's been it's kind of a nice thing to wake up to, and it sort of is filling in the gaps that I feel like we didn't have with Nintendo's lineup, you know? Because like coming out of the Direct, we could kind of go like, oh, Mario and Rabbids was going to be the October release. Are they going to do something in tandem with that? Yes, Bayonetta. Leaves the Metroid Prime Remastered rumor who knows where, but still, like they're kind of filling the gaps. So like we actually have a pretty good, fleshed out Kirby heavy lineup for the rest of the year now, which is cool. Advance Wars, I imagine, will slot in at some point, but yeah, like it's been kind of nice. I'm trying to remember what the last announcement they made. Oh, right, the Mighty Bowser Lego set. That was also an early morning drop.
Yeah, that is super awesome. Like, you know, after coming off of the question mark block that you gave me, and then the Optimus, which is also super awesome. Like, I definitely recommend it if you like Transformers. Like, it transforms really well. The build is solid, really fun, and just looks great. But then, you know, I'm like, oh, how are they going to top this? And then it's like, oh, cool, Big Bowser. That's already an instant buy.
Yeah.
But then it's a puppet. And it has, like, buttons on the shell that lets you turn his head, open his mouth, shoot the cannon.
Yeah.
Move his arms. And, I mean, it's not the crazy thing, but even they're little like, oh, look, his legs, like, touch each other when you pick him up. So it's like he's jumping. And the little, I guess, mini set that you build around him is, like, destructible. And he plays with the Mario and... yeah, it's crazy. Like,
it's very targeted
everyone,
to
you know, myself.
I feel like,
yeah, like everyone, myself included, has been thinking like, you know, give us a giant Peach's Castle.
Mm-hmm.
But I do really like that for their big sets, they've all been completely unpredictable and completely like
I agree,
out of left field and awesome. Like, you know, no one would have predicted the TV set with the NES that you could pop in and out, or the question mark block with the awesome miniature dioramas. And now, like the Bowser, it's like they just keep surprising us. Like, not giving us what we're asking for, but giving us things we didn't know we wanted either.
Yeah,
that's curious where they're going to go next.
I feel like that's where Nintendo's collaborations are strongest. And it kind of goes back on even a smaller scale to those silly, like, Kirby foods I was talking about. Like, they could have just been like, here's a drink in a Kirby cup. We'll brand it with Kirby. But they're like, no, we're going to make a flavor that, like, looks like Kirby, represents Kirby. Like, doing beyond the expectation, not just doing Peach's Castle, doing Bowser. Like, that sort of thing is, like, those are the collaborations I feel like always are the most successful for Nintendo and its properties, you know? Like, even Super Nintendo World, like, it's not just they did a ride. It's like this crazy VR, AR thing, and there's, like, the power-up bands. Like, they went beyond just, let's make a roller coaster and slap Mario on it. Like, that's where these partnerships are strongest. So it is cool that, like, Lego really seems to understand that and is, like, fully leaning into that, you know? Yeah. Oh, also, speaking of things targeting you, Angel, I forgot to mention this when we said Bayonetta. There's a mode named after you, kind of, in the game. They have for the first time, you can turn off the nudity. So it's never true nudity, but for those who play Bayonetta, when she wraps her hair around her body, she's not wearing clothes when she does that, when she does her special moves. There's a mode called... I mean,
isn't she technically always wearing her hair?
Yeah, but the idea is, like, if you're playing it and there are other people around, maybe you don't want her stripping down to just her hair.
So they made it Smash Brothers.
Well, so she wears clothes. But the mode, and it's optional, to be clear. By default, it's off. But the mode is called the Naive Angel mode. So, There you go. Anyway, sorry, I feel like we sort of went on a weird tangent about that. You were saying Anime Expo? Fun times?
Tangents. There are no weird tangents.
That's true. Everything just flows now.
Pretty much it. It was just a really great trip. Looking forward to the next one. Got some Japanese games I'm looking forward to playing at some point. Got the Ace Attorney trilogy for like the 5th time. But this time, you know, it's a Japanese physical copy. So probably play that at some point. And I also got the Ace Attorney Investigations 2 that was never released in the US. So
that was cool when you showed me that.
Playing that eventually. And also a Japanese Rhythm Heaven for DS, which in Japanese is Rhythm Heaven Gold. So the cover has like a gold foil like effect to it. And so does the cartridge, which is really cool. Because the US version doesn't do that, because it's not called Rhythm Heaven Gold, it's just Rhythm Heaven. They busted like a Final Fantasy on us. But yeah, it's pretty much all I really had to say about Anime Expo. Well, surprisingly, like you said, some Nintendo-centric stuff, but just very anime filled in general as well.
Yeah, it's definitely anime filled.
My list
like,
and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like Nintendo adjacent more so than usual. Yeah.
How much Chainsaw Man representation was there at this Anime Expo?
I did see something and thought of you.
There was a lot of cosplay of Chainsaw Man, and they also gave away like a few Chainsaw Man goodies here and there. We were only able to get one, which we did save for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have it in a bag right here for the next time I see you.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't expecting.
It's not the crazy thing ever, but we were hoping to get more. But I mean,
Sure.
it's what they had. It looks neat.
Yeah.
But
Apparently they had a panel where they were talking about the anime that's coming out supposedly in October.
They are. I think it's happening because they are covering some of the buses down at Comic-Con, Crunchyroll, with different animes, and Chainsaw Man, I believe, is one of the bus wraps.
Oh, nice! I can't wait to see that over there. But we were expecting a brand new trailer or something. They didn't show any new footage at all. So
wow,
it's been over a year since we got that Chainsaw Man trailer. But the newest chapter of Chainsaw Man came out after a year hiatus. Part 2 is starting. So they dropped a brand new chapter. I think it was what's today? Wednesday? Yesterday. They dropped a new chapter yesterday. And boy, is it good. Can't wait. I'm starting to get to that point where I don't know if I want to wait until all of chapter 2 is done and just binge it the same way that I did I'm sorry, part 2 is until all of part 2 is done and then just binge it, or go week by week.
Or you have the patience, once you know it's out there to be consumed piecemeal, to actually sit back and be like, I won't look at spoilers, I won't look at anything. I don't have that control. Like, I have to watch stuff as it comes out.
It definitely sticks with you more if you do watch it piecemeal. Because I'm trying to remember what show I binged recently. Not The Good Place. I did just binge that again.
Great show.
Also a great rewatch.
Great show.
Yeah, great as a rewatch too. Just because if you've seen it,
yeah, it's like dual layers.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend that. But point is, there was an anime.
It was Demon Slayer,
something that I binged recently. No, not. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it was Demon Slayer. Yeah, because we had a whole conversation about that. How I didn't get to start watching it until the last episode was already out, and I basically binged it in like 2 days. And yeah, like almost as fast as I saw it, like less than a week later, I was already starting to forget what even happened. And I feel like I did not have that when I was watching, the first season as it was coming out. Like I even had like the theme song had enough time to even like really grow on me to the point that I really liked it. But the new theme song, while it is really catchy, like I don't think I gave it enough time to really like listen to it because it was just back to back to back to back to back to back.
It's
so I feel there's something to be said to that. Especially, I think if I really like a show, I'm probably not gonna try to binge it anymore.
It's been interesting to watch the entire television industry come to basically the realization you did, Angel, where like binging has short-term ramification. Like you look at something like Stranger Things and how they split it into 2 seasons, which actually that was a topic I should have written down to talk about, Stranger Things, but we'll do that in a different episode. But like you look at how every streaming service except Netflix was like, no, we're gonna do weekly still. We're gonna do it episodic style. Like we're not gonna let you just do a dump of it in one weekend. And now Netflix is like, yeah, actually there's something to be said for that, because you lose a lot of the deeper, like you're just powering through it. So you get the big takeaway, you get the big overarching, but you lose the effects of cliffhangers, you lose some of the suspense and mystery, you lose, most importantly, from the streamer's perspective, the water cooler talk around it, and people speculating, and kind of the fan culture build-up, which is there. Like, Stranger Things fans are a huge force to be reckoned with. But, like, Stranger Things is like a flash in the pan. Like, it's there for a couple weeks, and you're like, wow, it's everywhere, and then it's gone. But if you have a show that's going 10 weeks long, that's a 10-week conversation. Like, think about like Game of Thrones and how every week people would be talking about it for like 2 months, 3 months straight. Like it's you lose some of that, and with it, I think the fun of like the speculation around it and the theories, and like I know Kevin, we were super into Mr. Robot when it was on, right? And like there's all those theories and all the speculation, but if you could just hit next episode and see it right then and there, you lose a little of the like fun of it all in a way. So I kind of get why you are not doing it as a binge anymore with anything, Angel.
Yeah, it's been great with Attack on Titan. We still haven't even seen the final episode of part 2, but I guess it's a part 3. So
you aren't missing much.
That's going to be a long time. I figured, but yeah, that's glad there's another part. That would have been crazy if they decided to wrap everything in one episode or just not do that. Because I still don't know how that ends, which I am shocked I still haven't spoiled that for myself, or it's gotten it spoiled. But
I think your brother did spoil himself on it, and then I said, you know what? I'm not the biggest Attack on Titan fan. Go for it. Spoiler for me. When he told me, it was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I guess at this point, it just needs to end.
Well, I mean, technically it hasn't.
But yeah.
Anime form is different.
One more. Oh wait, next year. Oh man. Oh, and the still Mob Psycho. We did get to watch the intro at Anime Expo.
I was a bad boy and decided to for it online, and almost instantaneously found it online, and man, is it a banger.
Yeah, Mob Choir.
Yeah, Mob Choir, they're 3 for 3. I know, and that's theoretically going to be the end of it, right?
Theoretically, yeah. It's funny because one of the first things I thought when I saw the new intro was like, I wonder what Kevin thinks about it.
Oh, I loved it.
So I'm glad you did kind of.
It's surprisingly epic.
Yeah, it also feels like, a little more serious than the other one. But
well, they finally hit it. What did we say? We like jokingly said, oh, what's it going to be called? 99.99? No, it's just straight up called one song.
Yeah. Just actually get to 100.
Yeah, finally.
Damn.
Mob Psycho, what a special show.
Man.
Speaking of...
I can only wonder what we're going to see at Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah, that next randomer Nintendo's going to be fun, because this is the first Comic-Con that I think all three of us are there, like, the entire show. So, it'll be a good conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of things from Japan, here in LA, in tandem with the Anime Expo, they brought over this thing that I wanted to touch on. It's called the My Famicase Exhibition. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about this, but basically, I know you have, Angel, because I literally
tweeted a picture about like their gallery, and yeah, I think it was at JSR7.
Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, like it might have been on an Instagram that then was linked to from a Twitter that also shared that same name. Yeah, that sounds about right. No, but I know you. I was like, I don't know if you guys heard about this one, Angel. I literally told you about it at Anime Expo in person. But yeah, it's this cool thing. It's like, so I guess 18 years ago in Japan at a gallery called Meteor, they started curating this idea of what if they gave out actual Famicom cartridges and you make a label for it for an imaginary game. So they had all these different artists. They could submit these game ideas and make a cartridge art. And then the canvas was quite literally Famicom cartridges. And they could request the color cartridge that best fits their art and that sort of thing. So some of them are like normal Nintendo issued ones. Some of those are like these crazy mirror ones that Namco Bandai used to, or I guess Namco at the time used to put out. Like it's a cool idea. And it's grown over those 18 years. And then it came to the U.S. for the first time this summer. It's still here in L.A., actually, for the rest of the month. And there are now 253 cartridges with 28 or 29 countries represented, artists all around the world. They, as long as they submit it far enough in advance, they can be part of it. And you can go and view all of them and look at these cartridges and look at this art, and you can pick them up right off the display. And on the front, you have the game art, and then you flip over the cartridge, and on the back, it says, who made it, the artist, what, studio they are, if they are one, or fake game publisher. But it also has a description of what the game would be if it were real. So it's like the back of the box of the game, kinda. And then anyone that goes and sees this in person gets to vote, and this is true with the Japanese ones for the past 18 years as well, gets to vote on their 3 favorites, and then the top 1, 2, or 3. I don't remember if it's the top 3 or just the top 1, but either way, there's a winner crowned based on everyone that goes to look at the games, which ones they like most. And it's, of course, interesting because some people are going to vote for the art, some people are going to vote for the concept, some people might vote for the Nintendo references. It's such a different spectrum of how people choose which is their favorite, but ultimately there's one Famicase chosen a year at least, and then they get the props and the accolades and are part of this tradition that just churns year after year. So if you're in LA, it is at the Lemon Space, I think is how you say it, Lemon Space in Chinatown. It's on display there in collaboration with the group called Capsule Corner. It's there till I think July 24th, so you got I don't know, a little over a week. But what's cool is if you're not in LA, all of these cartridges, complete with the ability to turn them over by clicking them and having a box pop up, they're all virtually available too at famicase.com. So if you have any interest in kind of these what these games that could have been are. You have all these different ways to view it, and it's really fun because there's like these different buckets they all fall into. Like there's definitely some that reference Nintendo, like I was saying. So there's a clever one that was just called Question Mark that was the Mario 3 box art. Or not the box art, but like the official art with Mario on the like kind of checkerboard stage with like the mountains behind him. But Mario's not there. And then the logo, instead of it being the 3 with the Tanuki tail shadow behind it, was a question mark with the Tanuki tail shadow behind it. So it's like, oh, that's kind of, okay, that's a reference. I get that. There's another one that was literally like a pair of mice dressed up like the Mario Bros. Called Super Rice Brothers or something. It's like some of them are pretty like hitting the nose on the head, or hitting the nail on the head, I mean. But then another set almost kind of feels like a send up to like what Nintendo would have made or games from that era would have been. So like there's some like one had a really good pun. I think this was the one I voted number one for. It was Mushroom, and it was a racing game starring a little anthropomorphic mushroom on a go-kart. And then there's another one called like Please Don't Climb Me, and it was like this mountain with a like little like squiggly like concerned face, and kind of remind me of Ice Climbers in art style. But then there's some that just like, what if Nintendo made a game, modern Nintendo with their modern sensibilities, made a game on the Famicom. So there's one that's called Toon Frog, where it only uses the Famicom controller's microphone, and you have to tap it to basically you engage the game, but you're using it to control his steps. So every tap lets him step forward, and then you have to do like different rhythms theoretically. But again, all these blurbs are based off just like, you know, you have a sentence or two of what this game is about, and then you have the art, and then you kind of make up your own story of how the game would work. And there's also this category. There's also like a category you could say of just like people running wild. So like some of them are like, they look like modern indie, like maybe like the old DSi where like art style games would look like. There's others that just go like super ornate and fancy. There's some that are just like pictures of food or like what the inside of the cartridge would be like. It's a huge selection of different art, and it's just really fun to like browse through. Like I probably spent like a good amount of time in that gallery, like more than like, you know, you could breeze through in like 4 or 5 minutes, but I was there for a while just reading the backs and checking them out. You know, especially for someone like me, when I was a kid, I mentioned this when we were wrapping up Random Nintendo on the last episode of that, how the site started for me is like photoshopping fake GameCube and Game Boy Advance boxes and like making up games. And it's the exact same idea, like making the label, making the packaging, and then just kind of making up a game around it. So it was weirdly a full circle kind of moment that I went to go check out this exhibit literally the day that we announced, that we did our final Round Nintendo episode. So that was also kind of a funny coincidence. But yeah, no, it's a really cool thing. Famicase.com. If for no other reason than just to see some cool, basically indie game art without an indie game attached. So they timed it to be when Anime Expo was in town, which is why I mentioned it now. But yeah, it was cool. It's something a little different. And it has a lot of history behind it. So check it out if you're interested.
Sounds like you had a real awakening right there.
I don't know about wait. I was really expecting more of a pun from you right there, like that pause, that dramatic pause. I thought you'd be like, I don't know.
No,
you really made the Famicase for that exhibit or something like that. It's kind of where I thought you were going, but nope.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do the CSI. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like
after.
you just slip on the sunglasses. Yeah.
Oh, I need to find that.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing to have on a soundboard. Yeah.
No, I don't have it.
But oh well.
I do have the rim shot, but
well, hold on then. So you said I made a good Famicase for the exhibit. Okay, no rim shot.
No, that doesn't.
Wow, no crickets either. I get nothing.
No, it has to at least like make me smirk.
You know what you should get? The SpongeBob. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. That's what you get.
Oh, I do need to get that one. Yeah, I have a couple SpongeBob ones, but I guess SpongeBob is kind of rife. What's the word? Well, you know, he's like a meme generator.
Yeah.
Just like Shrek.
Yeah. Kevin, what have you been up to? I feel like Angel and I have just been like, I did this, I ate this, I went here, I did that. What have you been doing? What's new?
I contribute every now a little bit.
But you gotta have some excitement going on too, right?
I got a Switch Pro. Finally.
So Steam Deck?
I got Switch Pro.
Okay. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, Jathan, you never heard of the Switch Pro?
You know, Angel, this one guy that I used to talk to frequently always said the Switch Pro was never real, never trust Bloomberg, and it couldn't possibly be. And his name was Angel, coincidentally.
In my hand.
But yet he has it in his hand. So, Angel, Naive Angel. That's why the mode's called what it is. There you are. Switch Pros in his hands. So naive, Angel.
Oh yeah, I got a Steam Deck. I finally got it. I was part of second wave, which
I was gonna say, why did you get yours come way after Elvis's?
Well, because of two reasons. So it's funny. It was me, Elvis, and Celso. We were all on Discord when the pre-orders opened up for the Steam Deck, and of course, this being a very hot item, the servers crashed, and so it was very, very hard to check. You know how it is with literally a hotly anticipated item that they go like, oh, we didn't expect the response to be this. Shut up.
Or yes, even if it's not a hugely popular, the Xenoblade Special Edition crashed Nintendo's online store for like 8 hours. That's relatively niche compared to some other stuff.
Yeah, but Nintendo doesn't know how to do anything with the internet, so I'm not surprised.
That's true.
But this is Valve. They have servers, man, and their servers, whatever. Of course, their servers buckled under the pressure. By the time that I was finally able to secure a pre-order, I was hit with the Q2 pre-order. Or no, I think I was quarter. What quarter was I? No, I think right from the beginning I was hit with the Q2, meaning that my deck would be in my hands sometime between April or it might have been like March and May, somewhere around there. And then of course the deck got delayed, so that got pushed back by like 2 months. But Elvis was able to get a Q1 Switch deck, so that's why his came out. That's why he got his much quicker. Not only that, but I was part of the final wave of Q2 pre-orderers that received the email to finally buy this thing. So not only was I in the second wave, but I was part of the last wave for the second wave to be able to purchase it. Because all you had to do was put in $5. Back in, man, when did this go for pre-order?
It was like October or September, right, of last year? No, was it earlier?
September maybe?
Wait, no. It was July. It was July. It was the same day that the Switch OLED pre-orders went up.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I distinctly remember that. It was back to back. Oh, no. Maybe not. The announcement of the Steam Deck was the same day as the OLED. Okay. Yeah, because I remember my Twitter was just OLED, Steam Deck, OLED, Steam Deck for like the whole day. So
yeah, so I finally got a Steam Deck, and I'm incredibly impressed with it. I thought it was just gonna play my Steam Deck games, or like my Steam games, and that was about it. I was like, I'm not gonna worry about because it runs on Linux, so it's technically a PC. It's got enough horsepower, it's got enough juice for you to open it up in desktop mode, which brings you into like this Linux terminal. I'm not a Linux user, I'm sorry for people that use Linux. I just know nothing about it. But like when you switch into desktop mode, it's essentially just Windows with a different skin. And I was like, okay, this I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII Remake for the third time on my Steam Deck. And this game is deck verified, which is what Valve is putting this like quality seal of approval on some of its games. If it's verified, it means that it shouldn't it should be running like at a minimum at 30 frames without like any problems. And so I went online to see like, all right, what's the best way to play Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Steam Deck? And sure enough, there's like, oh well, you can just mod it. And I'm just mod it. What do you mean just mod it? Because you turn on the Steam Deck and you're essentially in Steam OS. You're in Valve's OS. But by switching to desktop mode, you can just mod games like you would on any PC.
So it's not even mod; it's literally just install at that point, right?
What do you mean?
Like, because you're saying, oh, you can mod in games. It's really just like you go download the game. Like, there's not even any hacking needed, right?
No. So you're downloading the game. So it's essentially 2 layers.
Okay.
So when you turn on the Steam Deck, you are booting up a Linux machine that immediately boots into Steam OS.
Right.
However, you can switch over to the desktop mode where you will still technically have SteamOS open, but now you just have like a Windows desktop.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. So like you could just go download like a random .exe file and run it. You don't really need to like modify.
Oh
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you could get like emulators or other not supported things.
Which we do not condone.
We do not condone or support. I actually have never downloaded an emulator or ROM in my life. I'll have you know.
Yep.
I mean that sincerely. I really haven't.
Yeah, I also mean it very sincerely. I only have Dolphin on the Steam Deck just to experiment and not so that I can play Double Dash.
Did I ever tell you? Did I ever tell the story on the podcast of how I actually reported piracy to Nintendo once in high school?
Yes, you have.
Okay, yeah.
Dark.
Yeah. The mall kiosk of the little all-in-one systems. Yep. Listen, Nintendo was sending me free games about once a year. I owed them. Not that much, but I owed them. So. Yeah, anyway, sorry, you were saying you don't emulate, but you might have Dolphin, possibly.
But I might have Dolphin. You know, I might have downloaded a few games just so that we could see the potential of the deck, not because we're filthy pirates.
You really want to educate yourself to alert the authorities of the issue at hand. You were doing research.
Yeah, I'm going to do. Apparently, there's a way to get your actual Switch games on a Steam Deck. I'm just doing it for research purposes. I'm not. I'm just one guy, just one boy.
You're just a detective. You're just a private eye on the case. Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, it's fairly simple to do anything on it. There are some weird things that Valve has to fix. For instance, going into desktop mode, it automatically comes installed with Firefox, right? And it's full-fledged Firefox to the point where you can download like ad blockers so that your Firefox isn't as trash as it would be on. Do you guys use ad blockers?
I do.
I'm really putting you guys to test.
I think I used to, and then I just don't anymore.
I do, which is funny because where I work, our revenue is very heavily driven by ads on the page, and yet personally, I hate that. but yes, sure. I do have. I even have one on my iPhone, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to have one on the phone. It's a godsend.
Yeah, I use Crystal, I believe it's called. If anyone wants a good one that stays out of your way. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I might actually check that out. But anyways, so you have full-fledged Firefox on it, and I just went to nexusmods.com, downloaded a zip file, was then able to extract that zip file and grab the thing that was in there, copy and paste that folder, or copy and paste that little patch or mod, whatever you want to call it, and put it into the folder that Final Fantasy VII Remake launches off of, switch over back into SteamOS, and played it with the patch installed. It's black magic. It's crazy.
It's funny because it sounds like it's black magic because the Steam Deck's considered its own console in a way, but that's just every PC. Which is what's so wild is the idea that it's a PC. At least to me, what's always been crazy about Steam Deck, it's a PC, but in a Switch form factor that's extremely comfortable. Because when we were hanging out, the three of us in person, we got to try Elvis's for a moment, or not try it, but hold it. And I'm shocked at how it's big, but it doesn't feel heavy, doesn't feel thick, feels really good. It has the right curves around where you hold it. It's really nice build quality, and it feels like a gaming console. But all the behavior is what you're used to seeing on Windows PCs for 3 decades now. And that marriage of the two, I don't understand how it took this long for someone to do that. It's genius.
It's genius, and I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy Remake. I started playing Cuphead again because the Delicious Last Course DLC was released, I think, last week or
end of June.
Week.
It was out the 29th or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been playing that on this, and I'll have more to say about that once I'm finished with it at some point. That game is still very, very difficult, although they have made some modifications to make it a little bit easier, but it's still pretty tough. What else have I started playing Resident Evil 2 Remake on here. It's a great piece of hardware, and it's the customizability is insane. You Angel, I'm sure you're a little bit more familiar with it than Jason is, but like you have these four back like paddles, back buttons that you can literally make. You can just remap them to any button on the controller. But not only that, but you can make it so that when you're pressing it, it's not only just one input; it's like two inputs. So I know that there's these little touch pads that work as your mouse, or they work like a mouse, and they have haptic feedback. It's a neat little machine, and I come home from work. I obviously don't want to ever go to work, but you come. How do I de-stress? I play some video games. I have a Twitch stream on the side, on like the side monitor. Now it's just like I'm gonna be in bed, and I'm gonna have the Twitch stream on my actual TV instead of like sitting on an office chair, and just be playing on my Steam Deck. It's fun.
Well, let me ask you this.
Plus, I have this entire library of Steam games that, if I go right now, I think it's like 160 games that are Steam Deck verified.
Just the day it arrived, you had 160 games at the ready. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That did lead me to a question though. You were saying, you're just gonna lay in bed with it and like have your Twitch on TV or whatever. That is kind of your use case whenever you were talking about why you would get a Switch version of a game. Like I remember you saying that about Hades and a few others.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that leave the Switch to you? Like, do you see yourself still buying games on Switch? Do you see yourself buying them more on Steam because you can just access them from anything you can log in on Steam with? Like where
third party games are officially, I'm sorry to the Switch, but that thing is just going to collect dust until, I don't know, a brand new Super Mario game comes out, or another Metroid, or another Mario Kart. There will still, it's my Switch is now my exclusive machine, the way that it has been in the past. Exactly.
Right.
Because third party games, I'm not only that, but it's so much more comfortable. I've always had issues with the ergonomics of the Switch. I think I've voiced them pretty clearly in the Red Nintendo.
Ergonomic.
Exactly. Like, one thing that I hate about the Switch is that when I'm holding it, the Joy-Cons are burying themselves in the palm of my hands. I don't have that with this, because most of my palm rests on the system itself. Not only that, the joysticks feel really, really nice. The triggers are actual triggers. They're not just little buttons that you're pressing in. The back touchpads are a little stiff. Maybe it'll just take some wearing in to or some breaking in to finally get them a little closer. But like the D-pad's a solid D-pad. I don't want to rag on the Switch too much, because these are obviously they're very different products for very different markets.
Right. Yeah,
But,
and I don't think one's necessarily gonna like cannibalize the other for that reason. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like I was listening to Jeff Gerstmann talk about this on his podcast, and like, do I ever see this being sold like in a Walmart or a Target or Best Buy? Probably not. I mean, I guess a Target of anything, a Best Buy of anything. But do I see these do I ever see this living on a shelf at a Target or Best Buy? Probably not. Same way that a Switch would.
Right.
But it's also not necessarily a hardcore player's device. Like,
yeah, like you can't mod it, or you can't like change the hardware. You can't upgrade it, right? Like it's kind of soldered in, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like the most that you can do is just put a micro SD card in it to expand your storage.
Like a Switch.
Like a Switch, exactly. But like, I would, man, if this is the way that I would get you to play PC games now, Jason, like, go for it. You have a whole brand new world. And the dock is going to be releasing soon, so it's more or less a Switch, just without the Nintendo games.
Yeah, it's a good point. The interesting thing to me is we're talking about like, which way to play it on, but there's an article from The Verge or something that I was reading the other day where they were arguing that the Steam Deck for them is replacing the Switch. It wasn't just like, the ergonomics are better, or you could play it on more devices, or whatever other reason. It was the reason they leaned on, which is really interesting. I didn't give it any thought. Is Steam has a track record of supporting games across essentially generations. Like if you buy Neon White on the Switch, you know it will work on your Switch. You know you can assume it may work on any half step up of the Switch. Like if they do a new Switch or a, Switch I or a Switch Advance or whatever you want to call it, where it's like kind of that half step like a DSi or a Game Boy Advance or the new 3DS, it'll work on there. Mm-hmm. You don't know if when the Switch 2 shows up, if there ever is a proper Switch 2, if it will work on there. On Steam, you, from the last however many years of history of Steam, are basically guaranteed that any future Steam device you choose to buy, any future Steam device you choose to play on, will support this exact game that you purchased at the exact same price you get it on Switch right now. And that is a pretty interesting, compelling reason for people to side with Steam over Switch. Again, I think the markets like you were saying, I don't think that's like totally overlaps. Like there's a Venn diagram here, but they're definitely different circles as well. But that is a really interesting thing, that Nintendo's problems with their libraries and backwards compatibility and stuff is rearing its head in a way that actually could be detrimental to their third-party support in the future. If slowly more and more people are like, I'd rather have something I know I could play across all devices for all the time, as their iPhones have trained them, as their PCs have trained them, as their Androids have trained them, and now as the Steam Deck is going to train them. While the Switch is still in this weird, sort of little black box of, I don't know if my game's going to work on the next thing in 5 years. So that's an interesting angle that I don't even think very many people are considering, on top of everything you're already saying about having to make the choice one way or another.
Yeah, and like I said, the Switch will be my exclusive Nintendo machine.
Yeah, and for that, obviously people will still buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, if you could play a game on the go and the most affordable way that you could do it is a Switch, yeah, absolutely. Hades is going to rock on a PC with a 3080 or your Switch. Yeah. A game is always going to be a game. Of course, would I want Final Fantasy VII Remake to run on a Switch? Yeah, absolutely. But it unfortunately just can't.
Yeah, yeah. But with the cloud, it can run at a stuttering frame rate.
At a stuttering... Did we talk about how...
I see what you did there, Cloud.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Does that get a rim shot?
No.
Oh. Okay. Kevin, what were we starting to say that we didn't talk about?
You will know when you get the
Yeah, because I'll hear a rim shot. That makes sense. Kevin, what were you starting to say? Did we talk about...
Okay, that wasn't a rim shot.
I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging me with sounds and not words.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I knew you had my back. I knew you had my back, Kevin. I don't know about this naive angel over here. But no, you're starting to say that there's something that we touch on in the past.
Oh, did we talk about how your Automata is going to run natively on Switch, but Kingdom Hearts 1?
We did, yeah. We kind of in passing last episode, like when we did the Nintendo Direct Mini, we in passing were like, how weird is that? And then just moved on to why does Nier Automata matter? But yeah, how weird is that?
I'd be fucking furious, dude. That's unacceptable. Nier to be fair, Nier Automata isn't that much of a looker, but neither is the first Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, it was on PS2. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, that reminds me. I should be able to get Kingdom Hearts running on the Steam Deck and Kingdom Hearts 2.
Through legal means, I'm sure. Yes.
I mean, yeah, technically yes, because I think there is a way to boot the Epic Game Store onto the Steam Deck. It's just like through workarounds, and on the PC, that's where the Kingdom Hearts games live.
I do wonder how that piracy is going to shake out. Like, it's not going to be at the scale like the DS. Those 100 game-in-one cartridges became so common that Nintendo had to start like acknowledging in their financial reports that it was hurting them or something like that. Like, it was a big deal. They, in court recently, revealed that they released a modified version of the Switch, like a newer version of the Switch, specifically to keep away that scenario from playing out on Switch because they figured out a way to hack the Switch. I wonder, obviously there's a cost of entry that's much higher for a Steam Deck, but I wonder if someone's looking at, I could get a Switch OLED or I could get a Steam Deck, and they're savvy enough to know the piracy stuff. I wonder if people who might have gotten the Switch and been legit will be like, or I could just emulate it on a Steam Deck. It's a small use case, but I'm sure there's some people that are now seeing that opportunity, unfortunately.
So confession time, just because this is no longer a Nintendo exclusive podcast, I was one of those pirates who it wasn't one of those 100 games in one, but it was specifically it was a cart that you would put a micro SD card into, but I forgot what game it was loaded into.
Oh, the M3 or
the R3, the R3.
Yeah.
R3. Man, those were the days, man. I played the crap out of what was my favorite game on there? It was Tony Hawk's American Skate Land. Oh, that I gotta
the DS
game.
one? The DS one?
Yes.
Yeah. I heard good things about that one. Yeah.
That game was that reminds me, I gotta get Tony Hawk on this thing too. Like on the Steam Deck. Oh man, just roll the pot. Jason, you gotta get yourself one.
I mean, well, following up, I gotta get Tony Hawk on here, knowing that I can go get Tony Hawk on Switch isn't probably the strongest specific time to say that, but yes, I think you're right that there's more pros and cons for sure to a Steam Deck at this point.
Yeah, exactly, and you still wouldn't be missing out on like your Nintendo goodness.
My concern is, as you guys know, I'm not the best in terms of finishing my games or playing them thoroughly. So if I'm now splitting between two libraries, is it possible?
Yeah, but not only but games are
less?
super super cheap on Steam as well. So
true. Dude, I don't even play my Playdate enough. Which Angel and I, you and I, we own Playdates. We should in a future episode talk about it. But it's really cool, like conceptually. But I just am not even putting enough time into that. And I get games for free on there, two a week, every Monday. So it's an uphill battle, but on paper, in concept, yeah, the Steam Deck sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't wait to get down to the nitty gritty. And man, you know what? Traveling with it is kind of does suck because the battery isn't the best. As a matter of fact, the battery is complete ass. But you know, it'll get a little work in. Like, definitely, like, on the road to San Diego. Come on.
That,
like
funny enough,
on the way over there?
By the way, the battery thing, funny enough, is going to be the thing that prevents this from truly going. Never mind the fact that it's a PC that you play in, like, a handheld format, and that already has a barrier of entry. The thing that has killed every competitor of Nintendo that is like a portable console competitor has been battery. The Game Gear didn't last long enough. The Atari Lynx didn't last long enough. The PSP did okay in that department, but it had like discs and other weird issues. Ultimately, the thing that constantly seems to kill the
Vita just died.
The Vita, even though it means life, it died.
The Vita was the Pokemon equivalent to a Magikarp.
Yeah, it just floundered and flopped. Yeah, but yeah, like every major like competitor, especially how like the Steam Deck looks kind of like an Atari Lynx and a Game Gear in terms of like its size and shape and ratio of buttons to plastic and all that. That's gonna be the thing that holds it back is the battery. Like just at the end of the day, if you want to fly cross country and you can't guarantee your Steam Deck can make it, that's gonna be a problem. The fact that there's now AC adapters in every seat of a plane helps for sure, but it doesn't help in a road trip necessarily. It doesn't help. You know, there's going to be a lot of scenarios where Switch still has the advantage because its battery is like quadruple that of the Steam Deck. So,
yeah,
that's always the death knell. Yeah, no, it's still an amazing piece of hardware. I was really impressed with it. Yeah,
yeah, and the battery life is obviously going to be on a game by game basis. I think they said that you can get about 6 hours like playing Hades on it.
And if that's the
but
case,
of course, like playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, of course you're going to get 2 hours on it.
And the Switch was the same deal. Kind of like if Breath of the Wild, you could get like 3 hours on the original Switch, but something, lighter fare that was 2D, snipper clips, you could get like 9. So it was kind of, in the original Switch. So it's the same thing, and I'm sure it'll be an iteration of the Steam Deck that improves it, like you're saying. But, yeah, it's just, the games that a lot of the games that you're going to want to play on the Steam Deck, because that's what differentiates it from what the Switch can do, are going to be the ones most hurt by that battery situation for sure.
Yeah. It is what it is, but
yeah, totally.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the possibilities. I would love to, for experimental reasons only, put on Mario Party 2 on this thing and just get blitzed with friends if we don't have any other viable way to do it.
There's also always Mario Party Superstars if you want to keep it legal.
That's a good point. I think I brought this over. I think I brought this up to the attention of Elvis, and he's like, "We just have Superstars." I said, "Yeah, that's a good point." But does Superstars have whatever that goddamn app is called in costumes?
Yeah, that's the problem. Superstars doesn't have costumes, and I feel like I ranted about this when it came out.
You
but
did.
I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, where are the costumes? End rant.
Where are the
They're the
costumes?
best part.
Where's the more content? I want a reason to play this game again. It's been a long time.
I mean, I'm sort of surprised. It's funny because, like, with Super Mario Party, for so long they didn't do DLC. And we're like, where's the content? It just kept selling, and then Nintendo's like, all right, fine, here's some online mode. And then 3 months later, like, also, here's an entirely new Mario Party. So now we gotta wait 3 more years of where's the content, and then they're gonna be like, all right, here's some new content. And then, like, 3 months later, they'll be like, and here's a new Mario Party. Like, that's gonna be how it goes down. Watch.
Where if they release like a Super Mario like Party All Stars 2, like not even DLC, just like here's a whole other cartridge with like 5 more stages from only the N64 era or something like that. They're gonna do something weird.
They're not gonna do anything yet because they don't want to cannibalize their own sales. They're gonna wait till this thing goes to like 12 million, 15 million. Like,
well, if they did make a DLC.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I am.
But yeah, you know, they don't have to do anything yet either way.
Yeah, it's just chugging along. I mean, the fact that like it just got that Cold Stone stimulus, you know, it has an ice cream now. It's good. The sales are gonna fly. It's gonna go off the shelf like crazy. You'll see. They don't need to make DLC. They just need to make ice cream. Simple as that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess unless, do any of you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, but I don't. I do like if we end there that I sort of full circled our topics unintentionally by going back to Cold Stone.
Yeah. Sweets.
Pretty sweet way to end.
All about them
Ha
sweets.
ha ha ha.
Not a fan of that one.
No, I didn't get a clown note. I feel like the clown one should be for yeah, a buzzer. That's good. Yeah. So is this where we do the usual show notes, I guess? For everyone to tune in 2
yeah,
weeks?
I guess yeah, do the thing
I'll
you
do the
with
thing.
with the saying of the plugs and
It makes me
whatnot.
happy that even with all the changes underway, new episode name, new podcast name. You may notice if you look at our YouTube channel, new graphics for the new show, like all this change, and yet me spouting off a random list of not so random podcast services that you can find us on remains the same. So with that in mind, we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Google Podcasts, we are on Spotify, we are on Stitcher, we are on TuneIn, we are on Pandora, Amazon Music. Happy Prime Day to those who celebrated this past week. We are on, why did I say that like it was an actual religious holiday? Anyway, we are on YouTube, as I mentioned, randomtown.com. We're on iHeartRadio. We are literally everywhere. And the feed that you previously saw us on is the feed you are currently seeing us on. We didn't change that. So if you're already subscribed, just stay where you're at. We're coming your way. We're also on Twitter at RamNintendo, because that is still our kind of mothership. Individually, we're on Twitter. I'm JSR7. Angel is Wero, WEIRO_O. Kevin is KVN Gomi. Next episode, I mean, it's randomer, so I can't really tell you exactly what's going to happen, but what I can tell you, as Kevin mentioned earlier, we're all going to Comic-Con. And it's the first Comic-Con since the pandemic. And the show's already shaping up to have some cool stuff going down. So I'm sure we're going to talk about what it's like to be back in that environment after so many years and the cool things we did, and maybe some of the Marvel news that's probably going to be announced in Hall H and all that jazz. So, yeah, tune in for that. And, of course, whatever Nintendo's doing.
Conventions.
It turns out, actually, Nintendo has a booth on the show floor. I thought they weren't going to. They initially weren't going to, I thought. But they do. So maybe there'll be some interesting stuff on display. Who knows? But, Angel, were you starting to say something?
I guess the Turtles took over... And I guess the Turtles took over the Nintendo area because they're at the Marriott.
I guess so. How weird is it? Nintendo used to show like 7 games in the Grand Ballroom of the Marriott, and now there's a single Konami compilation of old Turtle games that's using that exact same space of only 4 games, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 5. But still, it went from like a full console lineup.
But it's in the Marriott somewhere.
Yeah, it might not be the ballroom, but it is. I just find it funny that's like a full lineup of games to just like, here's a couple games from the 90s you've played before. But it is cool to have a gaming lounge. The Turtles are big this year down there, it looks like. So we'll see how that all shakes out.
It's funny you say that because it feels like it's not like they're in a high swing kind of year, but yeah, but I guess we'll have to see. But anyway, on that note, yeah, Kevin, final word.
Damn it, I don't want to be the last one.